Hold on, I want to see this Kanye video.
The thing about it, me and Adidas, is like, I could literally say anti-Semitic shit and they can't drop me. I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me.
I haven't seen this interview.
Now what?
Podcast or whatever it's called.
Shortly after these comments, it was announced that Adidas decided to finally end its partnership with Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. Their relationship was under review for weeks at this point, as Adidas wanted to look like they were taking action against his recent anti-Semitic comments without, taking any real action.
It up a little bit.
The fact of the matter is that Ye really did have a tight grip on the company, seeing as he owns the trademark for his sneaker brand Yeezy, which was worth as much as $3 billion. Kanye wasn't entirely speaking out of arrogance when he said that Adidas wouldn't drop him. He knew it would be a big loss for the company. But despite the loyal fans, massive profits, and sellout shoes that Yeezy brought to the table, Adidas did walk away. A large business with, past accusations of forced and child labor walked away from $250 million in profit. That's practically unheard of, and it's how you know that Kanye did something irredeemable. According to Forbes, this absolutely obliterated Kanye's worth, making him no longer a billionaire. They officially removed him from the billionaires list on October 25th, 2022. In fact, Kanye's most recent comments have been the final straw for corporate America as a whole. Adidas, The Gap, Instagram, Twitter, Balenciaga, and the Creative Artist Agency have all distanced themselves from Kanye in recent weeks. So what did he do this time? Well, it's sort of a combination of a few different things, but let's focus on the month of October. Early in the month, news circulated that one of Ye's catwalk events at Paris Fashion Week,
like when he wore that White Lives Matter, like people were angry, but like he didn't get dropped by anybody still. But as soon as he said those Jewish remarks, like I said earlier, they dropped him immediately. Isn't that fascinating how they did that? They don't care about black people, bro. We're just loud apes to them.
Week included a White Lives Matter t-shirt. Now, the phrase White Lives Matter, as I'm sure many of you already know, is a direct racist response against the Black Lives Matter movement.
And yes, white lives do matter. Jesus Christ. Like, did you graduate kindergarten? Obviously, white lives matter. All lives matter. Blue lives do not matter because blue lives do not exist. That's like degrading because black people exist. Blue people don't exist. They cop lives matter or something like that. Like blue lives matter. Like, come on, man. Look, everything that isn't Black Lives Matter, that isn't like, you know what I'm saying? I can't talk. Sorry, I can't. Those organizations and those movements, I put them in quotes because they're really they're really silent when, actual blue lives matter things happen, actual white lives matter things happen, actual, all lives matter thing happen. But they're really loud when Black Lives Matter starts happening, and people want to start talking about Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, and it's all up in the news. That's just an interesting thing, but that's why they're not really a movement. But those organizations are literally just rebuttals. That's why they'll never be taken serious. They're just rebuttals to Black Lives Matter, bro. They're like snarky rebuttals. Like, no, Black lives don't matter. White lives matter. No, Black lives do not matter. All lives matter. No, your Black life doesn't matter. It's blue life, whatever that is. Smurf lives matter, baby. Smurf life matter, baby. Like, no, bro, no. Obviously, respect the police and all that stuff, but the whole point of Black Lives Matter was to bring attention to police brutality and like how we weren't like being shown in the media and like this we kept being killed and stuff like that, but we weren't getting any attention from it. You know what I mean? We get attention for like a week or two, maybe a month, and then that's it. It's gone, dead. That person dead, gone. Their life meant apparently nothing according to society. And that's why Black Lives Matter was formed, to bring attention to this. Like, this isn't just like a rare occurrence. This happens too often. That's what Black Lives Matter is about. Bring attention to Black lives being taken from, police brutality and other stuff like that. Not Black lives only mattering. Clearly, like, whoever, I'm sure there's some people in Black Lives Matter who actually do believe that, but you need to realize that those are like the radical people. Though that doesn't represent the whole group. Neither do the rioters. And even then, you shouldn't even be that mad. Like, I don't agree with rioters, not at all. But like, this has been built up for centuries. This isn't just Black Lives Matter wasn't just created in 2013 and there was no previous foundation for it. This stuff has been happening for decades, centuries. Only then, only a decade ago, did we actually create our own movement to, spread awareness. But this stuff has been going on. White Lives Matter, it was literally all right, I'm done. But point is, White Lives Matter, all those other lives matters, they was created after BLM to, detract attention from it. And basically, I'm done.
It's a hate slogan, and even if you want to claim that Kanye didn't mean it in that way, which I believe he absolutely did, he could have put plenty of other things on a shirt, but he chose that. Not that this should really be a surprise coming from someone wearing and selling the Confederate flag, but I guess that was all okay with these brands back in 2013 because Kanye claimed he was reappropriating it. Again, I personally find that pretty hard to believe when he's also said that 400 years of slavery was just a choice, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Now, choosing to design, create, print...
I actually, don't hate me for this, but I actually kind of agree with that a little bit. Not a choice not a choice. Like, he was trying to say that, like, we were, like, bunched up, millions of us, so many of us. I'm pretty sure we outnumbered white people, but we, like, kind of stayed, in our place, and we did kind of what we had to do. I mean, there were rebellions and stuff, but like, you got to remember that we couldn't like read, write, and if we were caught reading or writing, we got killed, or or our babies got killed, stuff like that. So that's why so many people didn't rise up, and they only rose up when given the opportunity with the Civil War. You know what I mean? I think I know what I'm talking about. Y'all might have to correct me. Like, I think I know what I'm talking about. Like, it wasn't a choice in the sense that they were like, okay, we're going to be okay with this 400 years of slavery. They were doing it because that was the better option versus death. You know what I mean? And the shout out the slaves that jumped from ships and stuff like that. But I mean, they're dead. Their lineage is dead, most likely. But like, I don't blame. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not jumping from the ship. If I was a slave back then, I'm not jumping from the ship, bro. I don't blame them for not jumping from the ship because, like, you don't want to die. You want to see it through. You want to, hope that there's a better tomorrow, hopefully, for your children and grandchildren. I feel like jumping off the boat is kind of like losing all hope. Not only yourself, but like your people. But I'm not mad at them for that either, though. I don't know. We're 2 minutes in the video, and I just made this like 10 minutes, bro.
Showcase and then, I think, sell White Lives Matter t-shirts. Now that was a choice, and one that plenty of people were disgusted by. Weeks after debuting the line at Paris Fashion Week, Kanye's team donated these shirts to homeless people on Skid Row in Los Angeles, effectively taking advantage of their lack of clothing options and using his so-called generosity as a PR stunt. Maybe he wanted to appear noble, but LA advocates called him nothing more than a faux morality-based grifter. Kanye came to the most economically deprived and abandoned corner of LA to dump his trash and tell a community of unhoused and marginally housed, as well as heavily policed black people, that White Lives Matter, activist Pete White said on LA Can's Instagram. Yet this still wasn't enough. Ye didn't just have to be tone deaf and insulting, he apparently needed to be threatening and dangerous too. The same month, Kanye tweeted that he would go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, a reference to the US military defense readiness system called DEFCON. Terrifyingly, but not surprisingly enough, there were those that agreed with his message and started spreading it. One hate group held a banner over the 405 that read, "Kanye is right about the Jews," while lifting their arms in a Nazi salute. Kanye may not have actually stood by them or made that banner, but he might as well have.
Like, as Kanye, when you see that, you gotta be like, okay, maybe I should probably rethink my opinion on this. Like, does he have no critical thinking? So dumb. If you see a freaking Nazi like saying what you're saying is right and freaking doing the salute and everything, like, that doesn't make you want to second like guess and like rethink your entire like idea. Unless you're like claiming that you're a Nazi, then in that case, why would you, I guess, right? Why would you correct them? Why would you, try to hold yourself away from that?
Even just while working on this script, news broke that the Holocaust Museum of LA was flooded with anti-Semitic messages ever since Kanye told them he didn't want a private tour. The CEO of the museum, Beth Keane, offered said tour in the hopes to educate Kanye and change his perspective a bit. They weren't even condemning him. Yet, according to Ye, Planned Parenthood is his Holocaust museum. What's so dangerous about this isn't just the misinformation and harmful comments, but the number of people willing to act and spread hate on Kanye's behalf. On Twitter alone, Kanye has over 30 million followers when he made these remarks. 30 million, which, as Keane points out, is more than twice the amount of Jewish people on the entirety of this planet. His words absolutely have an impact on people, and even if he's banned from that platform, he continues to spread hate wherever he can. In just a month, Kanye really showed his true colors. But hasn't he done this before? In October 2022, we got this headline, but we also saw it in March 2022 after he made a music video depicting himself kidnapping Pete Davidson, then burying him alive. So when exactly did Kanye show his true colors, and has he always been this way?
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
He hasn't always been anti-Semitic, and well, I don't know Kanye, but based off the videos and music I've listened to, I don't think he's always been like this. Excuse me, my bad. I think he's always been outspoken, clearly, and not afraid to speak his mind. That could just be from his, you know, his mental disorder, but I mean, he still has done it in the past, and he's been doing it. It's nothing new. That's just Kanye. It's just Kanye being Kanye. But I think this recent stuff with him being like racist and anti-Semitic and all that stuff, like, I think that's just new. I think that's him. That could just be. No, I think that's new, honestly. I think that's new. I think he's simple-minded. I think he has good intentions, but he doesn't think of the repercussions of wearing a freaking MAGA hat and sitting next to Donald Trump and taking a picture with Donald Trump. Like, obviously, people are going to think about that in a whole different way than he intends. So he needs to make that clear. I don't support Trump, but he is our current president, and I want him to execute things for my people and yada, 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 yada. Don't just sit there with the MAGA hat and be like, yeah. Like, come on, bro. Especially since he said he didn't even vote. Like, what?
Hello and welcome to the Corporate Casket. I'm the Illuminaughtii, and today we're going to be talking about Kanye. Now, this has been requested, though obviously in the past month with just the incredible amount of bullshit that's occurred now, it has obviously increased. And while I know I can't possibly cover everything he's done, I do find it quite interesting just how long Kanye's upsetting behavior has gone under the radar or outright ignored. It's not as if people weren't calling him out before now, but it just feels like Kanye has been given so many undeserved second chances that it's only enabled and emboldened him. Also, please note that I wrote this right after the Adidas announcement, so I'm sure there's more news to come. And as a matter of fact, as a small update, there was also an incident just a couple days ago where he unannounced showed up to the Skechers headquarters and got escorted out, and then his school, Donda Academy, also was closed down or something. And then one of the teachers at said Donda Academy broke their NDA, or I don't know, was whatever, speaking and talking about Kanye's obsession with Hitler and stuff. It's a mess. There's just so much that keeps unfolding, but the point and the pattern is going to be relatively the same throughout most of these controversies we're going to cover. Now, in 2004, his debut album, The College Dropout, was actually called one of the best 10 debut albums of the decade by Rolling Stone. It was a result of years of hard work, burying himself in songwriting and rhyme since he was a teenager. Though, of course, his relationship with Jay-Z sure didn't hurt either. Even though he was controversial from the very beginning, it seemed like it was for the right reasons. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind, stating that George Bush doesn't care about black people.
She didn't watch the documentary. He had a relationship in the sense that he was a producer, but they weren't friends like they are right. Well, I don't know if they're friends now, but they weren't friends like they were after the album dropped. He had to gain Jay's respect, and that album and other albums kind of built that friendship. Before, he would just walk by, Kanye would freestyle in front of him, and then he'd be like, yeah, that's good. But can we get to my song though? I don't want to hear that trash, Kanye. I don't want to hear that trash. Yeah, they wasn't friends all along. They was just business partners. Let's say that. They were business partners.
Well, after the president's upsetting response to Hurricane Katrina. A couple years later, he was storming the stage and snatching the microphone from the winners at the 2006 MTC Europe Music Awards, claiming that he should have won because his video cost $1 million and had Pamela Anderson in it.
Oh.
For years after that, he basically did the same thing, telling Taylor Swift that while he was really happy for her win, Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Now, is that wrong, though? You know what? Hold on. She's so bad, bro. Whatever. But that's not beating You Belong With Me. Come on, man. The freaking thrift shop video is more iconic than You Belong With Me. Like, come on.
I'm gonna let you finish meme went viral in a similar way that Will Smith's "Get my wife's name out your mouth" that whole thing. And people seemed willing to laugh it off. Yeah, it was rude, it was crass, it was pushing a boundary, but it just seemed like to be a part of who Kanye was and what his brand was. He later said that he was the one who made Taylor Swift famous, and he felt that they still might have sex, which, first of all, gross. That is a terrible and just wrong thing to say, especially publicly. But secondly, all of this behavior was just kind of basically...
She was okay with that line, though. She thought it was funny, so nobody cares about your opinion there. She was only not okay with the line where he called her a B word. I think he said, yeah, he called her a B word, and he left that part out, I forgot that story. All I do know is that she was okay with the sex part. She was okay with that part. So calling it gross is like, I don't know.
He later said that he was the one who made Taylor Swift famous, and he felt that they still might have sex, which, first of all, gross. That is a terrible and just wrong thing to say, especially publicly. But secondly, all of this behavior was just kind of basically forgiven. Ye even threw it in Taylor's face, claiming that
and like publicly, like people, like in rap, like people are always talking about they want to have sex with said person publicly. It's nothing new.
Said it was okay if he did these things and hosted a canceled Taylor Swift party with Kim Kardashian. But bit by bit, the comments went from being occasionally rude and outlandish to troubling. In 2011, he compared himself to Hitler, stating, and I quote, "I walk through the hotel and I walk down the street, and people look at me like I'm fucking insane, like I'm Hitler. One day, the light will shine through, and one day, people will understand everything I ever did." Talk about foreshadowing in the worst way possible. I mean, Hitler is hated for, I think, very justified reasons, mainly because he was an evil dictator that ordered the genocide of millions of people. So maybe, and this is just a crazy little quirky thought here, don't compare people's justified loathing for Hitler to their criticism of you. But I guess Kanye felt that this was an accurate comparison after all, considering the anti-Semitic comments he started spewing a couple of years later when he perpetuated the stereotype that Jewish people control the government. Kanye said he felt that this was actually giving a compliment, that Jewish people have money, and admitted he came off as ignorant. Still, you know you fucked up when even Obama calls you a jackass. Now, here's the thing. Kanye had a damn good publicist at the time who kept him from taking things too far. While some of the things he said crossed a line for many, I still don't think he was really all that hated. His loyal fans were sticking by him, and even if he was problematic, his musical talents were apparently enough to make up for it, at least in the public eye. But in 2018...
Like, I'm not gonna lie, Kanye can literally say anything, and I will still listen to his music. I might not support, like, it's the thing, like, separating art from the artist, bro. That's just what you got. If you don't listen to Kanye West already, then you won't listen to him. And this situation doesn't want to make you listen to him anymore. So your opinion on the situation is already gone. This is more about people who have listened to him, and some people feel like they can't listen to him anymore. Personally, like I'm not stopping listening to Kanye ever. Like he's gonna be in my playlist for life. My kids need to know about Kanye. Everybody gonna know about Kanye. And along with that, they need to know that he has some issues too. He says some really disrespectful things over the years, and I don't think that should be shunned either. But like art from the artist. We have all watched Harvey Weinstein movies. I bet we've watched plenty of Harvey Weinstein movies and Weinstein Company movies after, we learned, of what he did and, what others did in that company. That doesn't make the movies he made any less good. Like, I'm about to look it up right now. Hold up. Movies. What's this? So you're telling me you're never watching Django Unchained again? Personally, I'm never not watching Kill Bill again. That's an instant rewatch all the time. You're not watching Good Will Hunting again? So you didn't watch Scream last month for Halloween with your parents and your friends? That's what you're telling me? You didn't watch Scary Movie last month? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Stop lying. Silver Linings Playbook is a great movie. Like, bro, The King's Speech, didn't that just come out? Oh, no. I was thinking of something else. Like, so many great movies under this freaking company. And you're telling me you're not going to watch them now? Like, freaking Spy Kids is under it. Literally Spy Kids. Oh, no. Weinstein, though. It's Weinstein. I can't watch this anymore. I can't watch this no more. Like,
finally took a massive hit when Kanye spoke unbridled in the TMZ newsroom. He started off by saying he loved Donald Trump, that he represented the world, and claimed that 400 years of slavery was a choice. Kanye was called out right then and there by TMZ's Van Lathan, who said, quote,
"And while you are making music and being an artist and living the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society..."
Yep. I feel like I'm going to replay it. I feel like what he's saying there is more prevalent now than it ever was before. I'm not going to lie. We need to get through this video. I didn't tell y'all, but I have an interview actually at 3:40, and it's 3:02. We might have to finish this video tomorrow or something. Actually, no. I'm ending it right now. I'm sorry. I know. Yeah.
Something in your blouse
Got me feeling so aroused.
What you about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. We are back in this. We're back. We're finishing this video. I wasn't lying. We finishing this video, bro. Gotta do it real quick because I gotta go out.
Of slavery was a choice. Kanye was called out right then and there by TMZ's Van Lathan, who said, quote,
And while you are making music,
and you see the difference. You see, this is the difference between a Kanye fan and a Kanye stan. I just listened to Wonder by Kanye, and I had an amazing time. It's a fantastic song, and him being rude, disrespectful, racist, anti-Semitic, all that stuff doesn't change the fact that the song is a banger. Sorry to let y'all know that. I'm sorry to let y'all know that. But I can still critique him. That's why I'm watching this video, and that's why you're watching this video too. Let's get it.
and being an artist and living the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that's come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice.
And he said it better than I ever could, and frankly, it was probably more polite than I would have been, and than I'm going to be today. Though Kanye went up to Van and said that he was sorry he hurt him, he didn't seem to take any responsibility. Sure, he heard Van, but he didn't listen. Van later explained that by getting close to Trump and other racist people in power, Kanye was disappointing him and seemingly validating their messages. It's why wearing MAGA hats and saying Trump's my boy, as Kanye did, was so offensive. But Kanye said that he had to get close to Trump to make a change, to better advocate for the black community. Personally, I fail to see how condoning Trump and calling him my boy would do that, but that's apparently the official story. But this was the last straw for many Kanye fans. Maybe he made comments out of ignorance before, but this one was just a whole new level. The article, What It's Really Like to Be a Kanye Fan Right Now by Adriana Davis detailed how disappointed and numb so many people were to hear these things, especially his fans that, as Van Lathan said, really do deal with marginalization. Davis said that ever since she was 16, Ye had been the voice that pushed her to dream bigger, go harder, reach higher, and that he, quote, literally served as the soundtrack to my adult life. The relationship she had with Kanye's music was emotional and almost spiritual in a way. She was ultimately left with a dilemma. Can you separate the art from the artist? Personally, and in certain circumstances, I think you can. If you grew up with Kanye's music, Harry Potter books, The Cosby Show, it doesn't mean that those positive messages and experiences you had as a child or just a younger person are non-existent anymore and that you can't enjoy those memories. But it is important for a fan to make the distinction, to support good messages and not the hateful artist, though that's just my opinion anyway. Kanye started to try and make this separation, referring to Ye as the old Kanye and then the new Kanye. But honestly, looking back, it's really all the same person. Even though supposed to Kanye have said it, rap duo Lil Brother stated, he is the same dude. Big personality, crazy ideas, off the wall. He was that guy back then. He's got a lot more money and a bigger platform, but was the same. Nothing Kanye does surprises me. It's just not old Kanye, new Kanye. Nah. If you had them early interactions with him, you saw traces of
like, you can't just change your name when you're like 50 years old or about to be 50 years old, bro. You can't just do that. Like, especially when you're so big, like everybody knows you as Kanye West. Like, it's not just a name at that point. It's your whole entire brand. You can't just change it like that. Even though it is just Ye now, but like still though, like the mainstream audience is not about to be like, oh Ye, hey Ye. Like Ye was what we used to call him, is what we call him like in fan circles, you know? But regular people ain't calling Kanye Ye, bro. So there's no point in changing his name, really.
All of that. Now these traces became more prominent as time went on, and as Kanye and Kim Kardashian divorced, they seemingly grew to be uncontrollable.
I go and get the lawyer, change the lawyer so we can finally do the divorce, and then somehow I'm the one that's the stalker.
Things between Kim and Ye had been tense, with Kanye even admitting that he thought Kim was going to leave him after the TMZ incident. They stuck together, but in 2020, during his short-lived run for president, Kim spoke out about her husband's mental health. It seemed pretty clear that regardless of what you thought of him, he wasn't okay. At rallies, he said he didn't give a fuck if he won. He just wanted to be of service to God. He didn't observe social distancing. He missed deadlines to file fundraising forms with the FEC and platformed on ignorant values. He said that abolitionist Harriet Tubman didn't actually free slaves. She just, quote, had them work for other white people. At one point, he even told the crowd about how Kim had contemplated aborting their first child, which is just way too much personal information to divulge without Kim's explicit consent. Despite his harmful and destructive statements, it seemed like Kim was doing all the things she could and being as patient as possible. Granted, we've got no idea what happens behind closed doors, so feel free to take this with the smallest grain of salt. Social media-wise, Kim explained how difficult bipolar disorder can be, while Kanye apologized and asked for forgiveness. Ultimately, things did not work out. Kim started dating Pete Davidson, Kanye had a brief relationship with Julia Fox, and continually begged for Kim to come back.
Julia Fox
and
don't
in
even
terms
look
of
good
celebrity
anymore.
relationships, if this had been the extent of it, like stopping here, I wouldn't bother writing this into the episode, as I don't really typically believe that celebrity breakup stuff is really my business. However, this goes beyond the typical relationship dramatics, as Kanye started a public tirade against Davidson. In his music videos, he had a claymation version of himself kidnap and kill a claymation Davidson. A downright creepy red animated monkey beat up Pete Davidson in an animated version of the same song during the lyrics, God saved me from that crash just so I can beat Pete Davidson's ass.
It's just obsessive,
and look,
bro. It's weird.
Kanye can say that his art isn't a proxy for ill or harm all he wants, but when you have a fan base as loyal as his, it's pretty disturbing to do something like this. And that's regardless of Davidson sending Kanye a selfie of him in Kim's bed, regardless of the tabloid saying that Kanye was spreading a rumor about Davidson having AIDS. Kanye took things to scary heights that were very unnecessary. He brought personal business into the public eye and even urged his followers to scream at Davidson if they saw him in real life. And Kanye just wasn't going to stop. He claimed Kim put a hit on him, that she was keeping him from seeing their kids, that Kim was failing to protect their daughter North by allowing her on TikTok, and that Davidson was going to get Kim hooked on drugs because he had once been in rehab. The level of harassment was just insane. And again, I think this goes past Hollywood drama. Trevor Noah summed it up pretty well in his program when he stated,
what we're seeing, though, is one of the most powerful, one of the richest women in the world, unable to get her ex to stop texting her, to stop chasing after her, to stop harassing her. Just think about that for a moment. Think about how powerful Kim Kardashian is. And she can't get that to happen.
No matter what you think of Kim, Pete, Kanye, or even Trevor Noah, he made an important point. This story may have seemed fully tabloid, and maybe people found it hard to feel bad for Kim, considering all the controversial things she's done. I mean, hell, I've criticized her before multiple times. But at the end of the day, she still does not deserve to have her ex-husband harassing her. Plus, these levels of harassment can and do become dangerous. Trevor told his own story of his mother facing the same treatment from her ex-husband, how those around her, whether family or police, questioned what she had done to provoke him. It wasn't harassment, they'd say. She was overreacting. But then, Noah got a call from his brother. His mom had been shot. She did survive a shot to the head as it missed her brain, and her ex was convicted of attempted murder. That doesn't mean that this is what will happen between Kanye and Kim, but it's why we need to take these stories seriously. It's why the abuse and the music videos, the vague threats and the constant social media harassment, it's why they're not funny. This isn't a dramatic love story. This feels more like a ticking time bomb. And Kanye seemed to only prove Trevor's concerns right when he lashed out at him, using racial slurs and leading to a suspension from Instagram. His rage seemed to spiral, and come September 2022, he called himself, along with several other Kardashian fathers, namely Tristan Thompson, Travis Scott, and Scott Disick, quote, cum donors, which, what a lead up for that quote.
That's funny.
This tirade was sparked by his inability to have a say in where his children go to school. I mean, while I understand that he would want to be involved in his children's lives, maybe don't threaten people with physical violence. If Kanye actually wanted to be a good father and do right by his own kids, then why would he harass the mother of his children at every turn? Why would he lead by example and show his children how he, the father, is treating his ex-wife, their mother? It's gross that articles about this situation end the reports with, oh, hey, I guess it's a good thing that the Kardashians are so rich so they can hire security guards. Like, sure, that is great and all, but the bigger question here is why the fuck should they have to feel so afraid in the first place? Besides, while I can't say I've ever been in Kim's exact situation here, I can't imagine that any amount of security is going to just wipe away those fears. No one should have to be holed up in their house and make their home a prison because their ex-husband is dangerous.
Yeah.
Now, when Kim and Pete broke up, Kanye still continued posting disturbing content, like the photoshopped headline, Skeet Davidson dead at 28, with Skeet being the nickname he used for Pete. He's remained bitter, angry, and hateful, and all this leads up to today. The anti-Semitic comments, Adidas dropping him, and even the most loyal of fans and brands alike being less interested in Kanye than ever. Celebrities have condemned him, social media sites have cut him off, and radio plays have dropped. But he still has the support of notable people, even if it's from the other toxic individuals on social media. Recently, there have been reports that Kanye is planning to buy the alt-right social media platform Parler. The CEO's wife just so happens to be Candace Owens, who also had been seen with Kanye quite a bit recently. Not only was she at his fashion show wearing one of those White Lives Matter shirts, but she defended his—
It's a shame because Candace Owens is kind of like pretty too. But she just like throws it all away when she's like, you can be as pretty as like possible. You can be the prettiest girl in the world. But if you like racist and your political views is all trash and you're and especially if you're too like, even if your political views are good, like in my opinion, even if your political views are still good, in my opinion, like I don't know, like sometimes you can be too political. Is that a thing? I think that's a thing, right? You can be way too political. And I think that's not attractive at all, actually. Politics are important, but they ain't everything, bro. It's definitely not to talk about in every conversation of the day. Or base your entire like personality off of. But you're talking to a guy who has like 50 Funko Pops in his room, so who am I to talk, right?
Tweets saying, no honest person would find his words anti-Semitic. I guess the entirety of the Anti-Defamation League is just dishonest then, right? Like, hate groups have said that he was right about Jewish people. Literal pro-Nazi groups have rallied around him. And Owens is going to say that his remarks aren't anti-Semitic? If I try to make any sense of that, I'm going to give myself a headache. Now, truthfully, I don't know if it's possible for Kanye to recover from this, and I don't think he fully deserves to. Maybe that's controversial to say. This is really only an overview of the things he's done. I already have an entire separate episode all about his little freaking weird church situation, but there's one more final thing that I need to say, and I think it really needs addressing. Kanye's mental health. And before we get into that, I'm just going to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsors.
I don't think this is
It's the most wonderful time of the year as we are heading into the end of the year. But if you're a small...
Oh, yep, I bought that. I definitely bought that.
Self to your deeply inclusive and sexy stories, astories.com.
Yep,
it's important for us to have conversations about, open conversations about mental health.
One thing that I've consistently heard brought up as a reason for Kanye's behavior is his bipolar disorder.
It's not I hate being bipolar, it's awesome. It's actually, it drives more of how you feel. It doesn't do the opposite.
Now, this could be a contributing factor,
Who's your favorite
would it really
song
cause
on
a person
that
to be
album?
anti-Semitic? I looked into what psychiatrists say on the topic to try and get a better feel for why so many have used bipolar as a viable reason. As an aside, before I continue, I want to make the point that bipolar disorder can manifest differently from person to person, and there are multiple different types of bipolar that a person can be diagnosed with. We're specifically talking about Kanye and his actions or reactions only. So, moving on. MedPage Today published an article detailing Kanye's paranoia over the past couple years. While his fear of vaccines and views around Planned Parenthood are frustratingly common in some circles, his visions for a White House organizational model based on Black Panther's Wakanda aren't common or reasonable at all. As for why Kanye doesn't take medication, he has openly discussed that on David Letterman, stating that meds ramp him up. He said, quote, "When you ramp up, it expresses your personality more, and you have a heightened connection with the universe, as well as more energy and productivity. When you're in this state, you're hyper-paranoid about everything. Everything's a conspiracy. You feel the government is putting chips in your head. You feel you're being recorded. You feel all these things." Ye also said that he was under the care of a doctor and using alternative care, but medication just didn't work for him.
No, how does the song go? It's a song that's like, it's about like his daughter and how he was like trying to prevent her from going down the same path his wife did and stuff. He doesn't like. What was the song, y'all? Hold up, I gotta think of it. The melody. What is the melody? That's not the melody. I can't remember the song. Oh, don't you grow up in a hurry. Your mama be worried now. It was all part of the story. Even the scary nights. You know what I'm talking about?
His disorder is having a sprained brain, and he didn't want to push it. Now, I have no idea how many different kinds of medication Kanye has tried, and I don't know if there's something out there that could work, but everyone has to do what's right for them, and I do appreciate that he's trying to advocate for himself. The Washington Post also spoke to experts in the field and those diagnosed with bipolar disorder to get a better understanding of what a manic episode is like. Cameron Kasky told them that with his disorder, he can go from feeling like he's in the darkest depths to the coolest kid in the world. In a manic state, he might spend more money and be more impulsive. For other people with bipolar, this may mean speaking extremely quickly, gambling, sleeping with multiple partners, and other rash decisions. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it makes sense that for Kanye, this would look more extreme. Spending a few $1,000s gambling probably wouldn't matter to him, but running for president? Now that's an impulsive decision. Kanye telling people he's God or a close hi to God, that could also be a symptom of delusions, of that coolest kid in the world feeling that Kasky described. Actually distinguishing between a person actively making these decisions and a person feeling influenced by their disorder to make these decisions is no easy task. Steve Hyman, the director of the Stanley Center for Psychiatric Research, says it is it me or my illness question is an entangled and difficult one to answer. Quote, often it is impossible to find a neat separation between a person as they would had been, if not ill, and the influence of a mental illness. But what about taking things to the extreme and spewing hateful anti-Semitic comments? Metzger, who runs a lab dedicated to mental health research and education, has stated that racism itself is not a mental health disorder, and even though bipolar disorder may cause a lack of a filter, it does not create racist values in the first place. Maybe Kanye never would have said he wants to kill Jewish people if it wasn't for his disorder. That's a distinct possibility. But it seems pretty clear that he would have had to have these beliefs in the first place in order to spew them. Metzger isn't the only medical expert saying this either. Psychologist Bedford Palmer flat out told Gizmodo that bipolar disorder does not make you racist or anti-Semitic.
Bro, you know what he looked like? You know what he looked like? This dude think he raged, bro.
I'm eating the Happy Meal in
Hey!
15.75 seconds.
What
The
you
Grand
doing,
Happy
bro?
Meal. in
Move! You see I'm streaming? Bro, why is it going to that one? Stop. Look at this. Look. 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 Whoa. Look. 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 No. Whoa. Look. Look. No. Look. Stop. No. Look. Stop. Hush. Look. Stop. Stop. That could have been bad. That could have been bad. Jesus Christ. Whatever.
Clinical psychologist Jonathan Stea said the same thing, adding, people are much more than the mental disorders they might experience. Ultimately, it all boils down to an important question. Do we hold Kanye accountable for his actions or continue making excuses for him?
Yes,
the thing is, whether or not medication worked for Kanye, it's his responsibility to seek help. It may be hard, but it's what he needs to do. He knows that his disorder impacted his marriage to Kim, and he knows it's deeply affected those around him, but he isn't addressing it. He has been open about what being bipolar looks like for him, and that's a fantastic first step. It's great for sparking conversation. But now, Kanye needs to actually do something about it. Maybe some people think this whole thing is for attention, but he's certainly put his money where his mouth is too. A few anti-Semitic remarks were worth over $1 billion to him.
Yeah, I heard that he doesn't take his meds because they like mess with his creativity or something like that. So that could be part of the problem.
Step. It's great for sparking conversation. But now, Kanye needs to actually do something about it. Maybe some people think this whole thing is for attention, but he's certainly put his money where his mouth is too. A few anti-Semitic remarks were worth over $1 billion to him, and there's no excusing that. We don't know Kanye's motives, but in the end, the damage is still the same. The harm he's caused does not go away just because he has a mental illness. And as for how we address this in the first place,
hold on.
Looks like for him, and that's a fantastic first step. It's great for sparking conversation. But now, Kanye needs to actually do something about it. Maybe some people think this whole thing is for attention, but he's certainly put his money where his mouth is too. A few anti-Semitic remarks were worth over $1 billion to him.
A few anti-Semitic remarks were worth over $1 billion to him. And a bunch of black remarks was worth nothing. Did he lose a single brand deal sponsorship after he said what he said? Like, did he? I actually don't know.
And there's no excusing that. We don't know Kanye's motives, but in the end, the damage is still the same. The harm he's caused does not go away just because he has a mental illness. And as for how we address this in the first place, that's another point worth making. Some news coverage has treated Kanye as a joke or dismissed his diagnosis. Then, when his mental illness is addressed, it's sometimes done in a stigmatizing manner. Calhoun, a psychiatry resident from Yale, believes that Kanye's comments and mental illness should be spoken about separately because one does not cause the other. We don't need to stigmatize people with bipolar.
Bro, what is that?
Then, when his mental illness is addressed, it's sometimes done in a stigmatizing manner. Calhoun, a psychiatry resident from Yale, believes that Kanye's comments and mental illness should be spoken about separately.
What is that, little bro? Look at her. Look at her. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. She's looking at it. She's looking. Look.
Because
look. Okay. She's trying not to be blinded by it. I see. She saw exactly what I saw. What is that? If y'all rocking this haircut, stop. Enough. I don't want that. I don't want to see that. I don't want that in my peripheral vision. I don't want none of that. Like, where's the lineup? It's just like what is that? Like, now I'm mad, kinda. I'm a little bit mad. You gotta leave like a little something for the back. Otherwise, you got that little bump. That looks stupid, bruh. That looks stupid. Like, I wanna know what this look like from the front. It's gotta be better from the front. I'm hoping it's better for the front for his sake.
One does not cause the other. We don't need to stigmatize people with bipolar disorder as racist or anti-Semitic. That's just kind of a Kanye thing. Personally, I feel that if Kanye were a famous woman instead of a man, I don't know, say Amanda Bynes or Britney Spears, he would have already been made to get help or even been placed in a conservatorship. Instead, Kanye was and is to some extent just treated like some misunderstood genius. At the end of the day, two things can be true at the same time. Kanye needs help and he needs to be held accountable too. But at the end of the day, these are just my opinions, my thoughts on things, and I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you so much for making it through the end of today's episode. I hope you learned something new today, and if you did, make sure you're liking, following, and subscribing to stay up to date on all the latest episodes. I really appreciate you sticking it out all the way to the end of the episode.
The thing about it, me and Adidas is like,
look at that.
I could literally...
Look at that. I was 357th like. Y'all go check her out. Go check her out. The iilluminaughtii. Illuminati or iilluminaughtii? Illuminaughtii, I think. Yeah, I watch her. We'll be watching her more on the channel, especially if she okay with it. Hopefully, hopefully she alright with it. I think she will be, right? Surely she wouldn't be mad about it.